Hello and welcome to Spotlight on right here on S24 television. Well, you see, every generation has voices that promise hope. Years ago, they stood behind pulpits. Later, they filled conference halls. Today, they reach millions through smartphone. Our guest today belongs to that generation. He speaks about discipline, purpose, faith, excellence, and becoming the best version of yourself. His videos inspire thousands of young Nigerians searching for direction in uncertain times. But inspiration itself has become an industry. Never before have so many people consumed motivational content. Yet, anxiety is rising, depression is rising, unemployment remains high. Many young people know how to dream, but struggle to find opportunity. So today we ask, has motivation become entertainment? Can positive thinking overcome economic realities? Are we building resilient young people or simply teaching them to feel inspired for a few minutes? And what responsibility comes with becoming a voice people trust? Joining us today is a motivational speaker, an author, and youth advocate, Umar Gana, or should I say Umar G. Welcome to Spotlight.
Whichever works best. Jazakallah khair, Zainab. Thank you so much for the very warm and modest introduction. I'm very happy to be here.
Good to see you today. So let's start by knowing you. Should I say let's peep into the person behind all of these categories of millions may know your message, but before there was an audience, before all the large followers you have on social media, because I can see them, of course. So there was Umar Gana. Who is he?
I think Umar Gana is the same person he was then. He's just going through a different phase in his life. I think for me, looking back to who Umar was, Umar has been on a steady and slow journey of self-discovery. This journey, I would say, would have started from my childhood. I grew up in Namibia, partly Nigeria, Malawi, then university in the UK. So I've had a very dynamic childhood, and I've been exposed to so many different environments. Those environments and the people I've met have all kind of played a part into who Umar is today.
Was there a special experience you had in the past that built the person you are today?
I think, like I said, it's been a single journey with different phases. So how I see it is, at each part of my life, there have been experiences and different pieces of the puzzle that have contributed to where I am today.
Okay, so when I talk about experience, was there like a failure that changed you to become who you are?
Well, not necessarily a failure, but I think I'll break it down like this. I've introspected a lot on where I am now, and I've seen so many factors that have contributed to the person I am today. So, for example, looking at my parents, there are so many qualities that I've realized are from my mom, and so many qualities I've realized from my dad. So the social part of me, you see the outgoing side of me, those are all qualities I've nurtured from my mother. And then in terms of being someone who is disciplined, being hardworking, that's something I've nurtured from seeing how my father goes about doing his work. So from my parents, there are things that I've realized I've nurtured based on their own personal qualities. And then when it comes to the experiences I've had, I think, like I mentioned earlier, different parts of my life have shaped me in different ways, starting with, I would say, university. I would use that because that's been a significant turning point in my life.
Okay, what university are we talking about?
University of West of England. So I went to university in Bristol, University of the West of England. And why I look back at university is because that was the point in my life where I started being a lot more intentional with the choices I make.
All of these opportunities, the university you've been, I'm coming back to that, for you to have come motivating people that are going through a lot that didn't get all of this opportunity. We'll talk about later. Okay. But since we're still getting to know you, do you think there are assumptions people have about you that you would like to change today?
Oh, maybe the biggest one would be people thinking I'm perfect. So I think for not just myself, but anyone that posts content about Islam or faith, people put them on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Where, as my friend Shireen would say, no mercy lives there. So anything that you do, people just assume, oh my God, how can this person be doing such and such? But at the end of the day, for not just, again, myself, but anyone who you see posting content about faith, about Islam, about the deen, because they're posting that content does not mean they are perfect. And more times, more often than not, people get too consumed by the person as opposed to the message itself.
That made me laugh because I remembered when Mufti got divorced, and all of us were like, why? How is that even possible? So it's all right. But when did you realize your life has become bigger than yourself?
I think still going back to university, I've always been someone that had big dreams. I've always been someone that has wanted to achieve big things and do great things for people. So if I was to give you what my passion is impact. And that's why I go into, or I'm very attracted to the path of entrepreneurship, because that allows you to do things, create things that are valuable and ultimately impact people. So when I realized my life was bigger than me, it's always been there dormant within me. However, university is the time when I started being intentional about bringing out those things that I can start doing to impact people.
You've talking about impact. You've talked about your impact. You never can tell the number of people you've impacted because this is social media. Some might have gotten affected by some words from you that you don't even know of. Who motivates you as a motivational speaker? Who motivates the motivational speakers?
Who motivates the motivational speakers? The best examples of motivation, our prophets. The prophets, our biggest role model, of course, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the other prophets. And ultimately, it's just, for me, it stems from wanting to be the best servant I can to my creator.
MashaAllah. Okay, so you've been linking your success and the kind of person you are today to your university. Tell us what really happened in the university.
Okay, so university was a huge shift for me because the most important thing I can tell you then is I started paying attention to my time. If I was to ask you, Zaina, what is the most expensive currency that we have?
In Nigeria?
No, overall. What is the most expensive currency that we all have in the world? I'm hearing someone say dirham in the background. It's not dirham.
I know it's not money.
It's not dollars.
I know you, motivational speaker like you. I know it's not going to be money.
Of course.
Maybe the Quran.
Time.
Time. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Give me the 5 most successful people you can think about.
No, I'm not going to let you switch the table.
Just go along with the example.
The 5 what?
Give me 5 extremely successful people you know.
No, you just give us. So we'll learn from you since you are the motivational
Elon Musk.
Okay.
Umar Suleiman.
Okay.
Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
Lionel Messi, LeBron James.
But don't you think that is subjective?
It is subjective, but I've given you 5 different figures that people can look up to as, wow, these are people that they would want to emulate.
Okay.
And something you would realize from all of these people I've mentioned and the ones that I've not, and us, is that we all have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
What should that tell you? The differences in the outcomes we get comes in the differences in how we use our time. It's just as simple as pouring orange into a cup. You get orange juice. Similarly, wherever you choose to squeeze your time, those are the results that you start to get. And the intentionality for me came when I started thinking about, okay, what are the things that I really want for my life? And how can I work on myself to become the person that can achieve the things that I want to achieve? So I started taking care of my health. I started being more intentional with my finances. I started reading books. I started listening to podcasts, to YouTube. And all of these things are things that collectively contribute to who you become as a person. So that's when the whole journey of self-development started.
Okay, so let's move to the actual, act, the motivation itself.
Yeah.
Why has motivation become a massive industry?
Why has motivation become a massive industry? I think there are a lot of things that have contributed to motivation and inspiration becoming as big as it is? Firstly, of course, it's the vehicle itself, social media. If you've seen how social media has transformed over the past 15 years, there's been a shift in the type of creators and the type of content that is put out there.
Yeah.
So now we see a rise of prominent motivational speakers across the world, the likes of the Ali Abdaals, the Sunnah guy, and so many more. So due to the
Apart
nature
from
of,
these renowned people, do you know we have just random people also coming to social media to
Of
do
course.
motivation? So many people
of
are
course,
motivating, and people are consuming this. In fact, I will need to ask you if people consume motivation like they consume entertainment.
I think people still consume entertainment more than motivation.
But what do you think is driving the urge to
The
consume
push,
motivation?
the urge to consume, I think it's a bigger thing than just motivation, but it's more so people looking for vices to go to. I think we live in a generation where we're all overstimulated. So the access to social media in terms of short form content, the rise of the TikToks, the Instagram, has also led to an increase in our need for quick dopamine fixes. And that's why a lot of people are always going to TikTok. A lot of people are going to Instagram. And what is one of the biggest problems we face now in this generation? Doom scrolling. Because we've been so exposed and we've been oversaturated with content that gives instant gratification.
Yeah.
So that has two things are in play here. Number one, there's been the vehicle, which is, like I said, the growth of social media platforms. Secondly, there's the accessibility in terms of the more people see creators putting out content that is motivational, the more comfort there is for anyone to start doing it. For example, if you go back 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been as comfortable for people to just pick up the phone, record a video, and put themselves out there. But the more they're seeing other people do it, the more that barrier for entry is reduced.
So don't you think the reason why this consummation of motivation is much because of the level of depression, the way life has become? Should that be one of the reasons why motivation is consumed, especially when you're listening to someone that is speaking to your current reality?
Of course, definitely. I think I'm a social media creator, but I think a lot of problems that we face in this generation have come from social media, ironically.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things that influence, especially for people that really, really consume social media a lot. There are so many issues that come with that because, number one, there's a different type of peer pressure that comes from social media. And the problem that I think a lot of people experience is they do not realize how much social media actually influences the way they think. So that's one of the issues. Secondly, there are so many narratives that are thrown out on social media that don't really necessarily help people, but because it is what they are presented, it's what they take. Thirdly, I think social media has led to a lot of comparison culture. There's a lot of backbiting as well. So there are a lot of toxic habits that have contributed to the way people interact with social media. Then in terms of consuming now, if you're always looking at content that is brain rot or doesn't really add value or consists of toxic things in the undertone, people then are forced to just take what is presented to them. And with the problem we mentioned earlier of doom scrolling, imagine how much non-valuable content that people take on a day-to-day
But don't you
basis.
think we're in a big trouble when people now get addicted to being
I do.
inspired rather than
Taking
being
action.
disciplined themselves?
I do, because like I said to you before we started this recording, I'm the biggest non-advocate for motivation. Because motivation without action is nothing. And I think the biggest problem that people experience in terms of consuming motivational content is a lot of times they fall into a loop of thinking consuming the content is doing something.
This is coming from a motivational speaker.
Of course.
But I'm about to ask you if the success of your motivational speaking is, measured by the numbers of views and likes.
Not at all. Not at all.
So what do you derive from motivating on social media?
I think taking it back to what I was mentioning earlier in terms of our faith, Islam really, really emphasizes sincerity in everything that you do. So for me, it's not about, how many people are going to see this. The very first metric I have is, it's not about the million views, it's about the one view, and that's the view of Allah.
So since we're speaking the truth
Yeah,
and we're standing by Allah,
of course.
is it that you don't make money from social
I do
media?
make money from social media.
So is that
I'm
not-
someone that benefits massively from social media.
Yeah.
But like I said, the way I approach social media is different from a general consumer of social media. So I would break down social media into two. There are people that produce and there are people that consume. If you're a producer on social media, you are a lot more intentional about it because you're treating it like a business. You know exactly why you are there. And a lot of the times, just like how a business person would go about achieving their goals, you are intentional with the steps that you take. However, if you are just a consumer on social media, you're a lot more likely to fall into things like the doom scrolling. If you don't have a purpose, for example, going to a grocery store, if you don't know what you're looking for, what do you end up doing?
Let's move to another segment because I'm going to come back to that because you're in between telling us that, okay, if you're motivating and you're not acting by it, is a waste of time. But then you told us if you're producing motivation, you're earning from it. So
Okay,
you
let
seem
me
to
let
be
me
a bit-
let me let me clarify.
Mhm.
I don't earn from motivation. I earn from the things I do as a result of my social media presence. Two different things. Most
Wow.
people think that to be earning from social media, you earn from the content that you make, the ad spend, and all of these things.
So
But
what do you earn from?
the people that are actually making tangible money on social media are people that can build a brand, build a social media presence, and then build businesses as a result of those brands. For example, do you know of the brand Prime?
Yes, but
Who makes
let's
that?
quickly move in because of our time. Let's
Okay.
move into because there's no how we're going to come here today and not do some motivations. We're going to do some motivation. So let's move into the segment where we do some motivation. Let's talk about motivation meeting reality. For example, let's imagine two young Nigerians. Both are hardworking, both are disciplined, both are honest, but one succeeds, the other doesn't. How do you explain that? As a motivational speaker? Is hard working always rewarded, or have motivational speakers sometimes simplified life too much? Because it seems some motivations do not meet reality.
Well, I think for the example of the two people you gave, I would give an example to kind of explain the point I want to make. There are two people. They both grew, two people, one extremely successful and wealthy, the other one not as successful. Both of them were asked, what led to you being in the position you're in? And they both had the same answer. My father was an alcoholic.
Oh.
What that should tell you is that the type of content you consume, it plays a huge part in the perspective you have on life. The perspective you have has a big part to play in the actions you take. Your actions lead into the habits you build. The habits you build turn into your character. So where does it stem from? Perspective. The point of motivational content is to help you develop a positive and enforcing an ambitious perspective. And if that cannot be translated into action, that's when the question comes, does motivation really help, or does it actually not match with the reality? The answer to that question would depend on the person consuming the content. Like I said, it's a vehicle. It's not the destination, but it's just a vehicle to help you get to the destination.
How do you get to motivate someone trapped in poverty or poor education or no opportunity at all? Because I told you we're going to come back to this. You've mentioned universities you've attended outside the country. That is an opportunity for you that so many people do not get. But you come to motivate people that do not get that opportunity at all.
So, for anyone that is trying to build right now, this is the best time for you to do it.
How?
Because the knowledge that is gotten in universities around the world, this is knowledge that is accessible to anyone. YouTube is a university. Do you pay for YouTube? YouTube is free. If you're intentional about just using YouTube alone, there is no knowledge that you won't be able to access. What do they say? Knowledge is power, is it not? So if you're able to find these resources, just figure out what is it that you want to learn? What is it that you want to do? The information is there, ready and accessible to you. You just have to know what you want to do and go out and look for the information. For you to make your first 1 million to 10 million naira, you can do that from getting free information and acting on it.
Motivational speakers. Don't you think motivational content tend to, blame individual for the societal problem, the societal imbalance? We can see the way the society is. It's not encouraging for development or whatsoever. But you, motivational speaker, you always find a way to make the individual feel like they are not doing enough. How do you explain that? Because we've had Otedola. If you look at his story, you see that his father was never poor. He had opportunity, he had funds to start. For people that do not have that form, but he comes to motivate. He had a book to motivate people who do not have this opportunity. Don't you think you guys tend to, blame individual for societal imbalance?
I think I can only speak to myself to that regard when I say that I do
That's why I
understand.
say motivational speakers, all of you.
Yeah, I'll speak for myself as Umar, but I'll say that of course we all know the circumstances that we live in, and that's why we try to be as authentic as possible in the things that we say. We understand that there are challenges, but then within every challenge, within every crisis, there are also opportunities. So what I said earlier about perspective, someone can look at the situation that we're in and think, okay, oh my God, this is the end of it. I can't do anything. Other people will see the same exact economic situation and say, okay, what are the problems that we're having right now? And they'll start innovating. Opportunities like AI exist. AI make it possible for you to do so many things. That is an opportunity that people before did not have. The people like within the generation of the Otedola, like you mentioned, they had access to oil. And then that was the boom that they grew up in. And a lot of people in Nigeria right now made money as a result of that early access. We have things like AI right now. So why don't you look at that as an opportunity? It's there for you right now. And if you are intentional about just putting yourself into that boom right now, you would be surprised where that could take you within the next 5 to 10 years. So there's
I've
always
mentioned that we have a lot of motivational speakers now as a result of just having so many followers. You see people, boom, they've become motivational speakers. So does just being an influencer make you a life coach?
there are influencers that can't actually influence.
Okay,
So
let's talk about them. Who are they? What influencer are we talking about? So who know who we are shifting away from and who we are listening to on social media?
I'm not going to point any names. I'm not going to point any fingers. But like I said earlier, I mentioned how right now there's a lot more accessibility in terms of content, in terms of being able to just take a camera and put something out there. So for all of these people, you also can't blame them because they feel like they have a story to tell, and they do tell their story. So if they do end up building massive followership, then that means that there's definitely people that find value in it. If there is no value, people aren't going to follow. But then where is the difference between someone that takes, for example, just anything and they start making content out of it and the people that don't? It's action. If you feel like, okay, why is this person making story? Take your camera and do it yourself too. If you have value, you will build the audience as well.
Okay, I think you're just talking to me directly because I'm trying to tell you that you're blaming individual for the societal imbalance. So you're trying to tell us viewers, they said, if you're feeling bad about it, take your camera and start your content too.
I think it's more so stop focusing so much on what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And looking at yourself. If you see that this person has a massive followership and is doing nonsense, do the nonsense too. Do something that actually takes you out from the position you are currently in to where it is that you
there are
want to
people
be.
that always look at social media and just blame people and just be like, this person is lying. This is impossible. This can never happen. And they don't make changes. They just want to blame. So let's
Remember
move
what I
on.
said about comparison.
All right, we are learning. So as a motivational speaker, do you always feel the pressure to appear successful?
No.
Because I think for a motivational speaker, if you're coming to motivate, if you don't look like what you are saying, people don't listen. So that's where the question prompts from. How do you always want to look like in presence of your followers?
Again, just to reiterate, this is speaking for myself anyways. My view of who I am online all stems from who I want to be presented in front of Allah. If I look at my online followership, that is something that I'm also going to present in front of Allah. So who I am online and who I am offline, I try to be the same person. Or rather, whatever I post, it's my truth, it's my reality. Or these are the things that I really want people to learn. These are the things that I resonate with and I would want people to benefit from. So in terms of showing a different face to my followers, that's not up to me. What
But
I
that's
try
what
to
so many
focus on,
motivational speakers do.
what I try to focus on is showing up as my reality, showing up as my authentic self, and how people interpret that, that's not in my control. So the only thing that is in my
Yeah.
control is showing up with my truth.
Have you ever changed your mind about something you've been teaching? You come back to reiterate something and say, oh, you've been advocating for this, but guys, it's no longer like that.
Maybe I've not experienced it on a large scale, but of course, we're all prone to making mistakes. And if there is anything that I've posted, I think the smallest example of that is things that I've posted that I feel, okay, maybe it's not the message that I want to convey, and then I end up deleting it. So I've had examples where I post something and then maybe a friend of mine replies, oh, this is what they got from it. And if I see another person text me the same thing, I'm like, okay, if this is how people are receiving it, maybe I can't deny the fact that multiple people are seeing it this way. So it's a problem from the post in itself. So I would take it down and reframe the message to convey what I wanted it to convey better. So maybe those are small instances of what you've just said right now.
Okay, so young Nigerians are under enormous pressure. Pressure to make money, pressure to succeed early, pressure to appear successful. What part of these concerns you more?
That they're not doing it for themselves. And
Oh, you're not bothered about the pressure. You're just bothered about the fact that you're not standing up.
two things. I think I'm concerned that they're taking the pressure, and as a result of the pressure, they're going into doing things that are not beneficial. That's number one. And number two, a lot of times they're living lives that are not really influenced by what they actually want, but it's more so the societal expectations and the societal outlook of who they are. So that leads to, I think there's this notion of Abuja people being fake.
Yeah.
Why do we have that? We have so many people that are living lives not even for themselves,
Yeah.
trying to push to a standard, trying to push to a particular expectation. And that's always going to be an
So
issue.
we have so many motivational speakers coming to social media to say, at so age, if you're not doing this, you're a goner. So for for you, at what age do you think you've lost it if you did not succeed?
There's no age, because let me give you an example with cars. If you see me driving on the road, are you going to be concerned where I'm going?
No, of course
Probably not. So it's the same thing with every single person. Everyone is driving their own journey. So because I am at a certain destination before, it does not mean that you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
There are two names of Allah, Al-Muqaddim and Al-Mu'akhir, the one who brings forward and the one who delays. If you look at the journey of life for every single person, there are things that some people get early and there are some things that people get delayed. Start all the way from school. There are people that finish university early. Some get delays.
That brings me to my last question before we move to our final segment. What do you think about destiny, Kadar? Because you've always mentioned, oh, if you'll find an opportunity in every situation, there will be an opportunity. You might just be missing it because of your perspective. But is it true that there are people who might actually never make it? And is that what destiny means? What would you say about that?
So the decree of Allah is always true. Whatever has been written for you will never pass you. But so let me understand the question. Are you saying
My question is, does it matter if you're hardworking or not?
it does matter? Because whatever it is, even for your qadr to come, you have to work. We've seen so many examples of this, and I'll link
So
it.
is it possible to work hard to the end and you never
Yes, it is possible.
motivate us about that? Because that's very hard to swallow.
It's very hard to swallow, but it's it all comes back to the outlook on life. If we look at what is good and what is bad, people limit their understanding of good and bad to maybe worldly achievement or expectations they have for themselves. And I'll give you an example with money. Let's say I work hard to earn wealth. I'm someone that is praying, I'm striving, and I want to get to Jannah. And then I keep trying for this money, I keep trying for this money, I keep trying for this money, but the money doesn't come to me. Then I realize, okay, perhaps if Allah had given me that money I've been looking for, I would have become someone that embezzles. I would have become someone that grows pride.
So you try to motivate yourself and take
No,
your
no,
mind
let
off
me
it?
let me land. So
No, we don't have time to land though, because we have another segment.
okay, but the point is basically there are things that Allah does not give you, and that is better for you.
So we should just accept that.
No. Second thing, dua can change qadr. So if anything you're trying to work on is not happening, dua can either change the decree / destiny of that thing, and two things need to be in play for that decree to be able to be changed.
Okay, I think this will be another conversation.
No,
for
let
another
me land
time.
on that point as well.
Because
Dua and hard work.
Okay.
Effort
A
and hard work.
combination of dua and hard work.
Yes.
Not just praying and
You can't pray.
neglecting.
You can't pray and expect it to be like magic.
Okay, so let's move to our last segment. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Umar G. This segment, you are allowed to just answer one question, mention one word, no explanation, because it's look like you like to land, but here you don't have the opportunity to land.
Actually, you don't let me land.
So purpose or profit?
Purpose.
Okay. Motivational speakers, discipline or motivation?
Discipline.
Okay. Faith or ambition?
Faith.
Success or peace?
Peace.
Influence or integrity?
Integrity.
Talent or consistency?
Consistency.
Books or reels?
Books.
Applause or impact?
Impact.
Tell me one habit every young Nigerian should develop.
Can I give two?
One. Is it that you're either hardworking or you're praying?
Introspection.
Okay. One myth about success that needs to die.
You have to be successful at a particular age.
Okay. Now finish this sentence. The future belongs to.
One word.
The future, yeah.
Doers.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. The future belongs to doers. Thank you so much, Umar Gana. Thank you for joining us on Spotlight On, and thank you, viewers,
Thank you,
for
Zainab.
watching.
I didn't let you land on purpose.
My name is Zainab Ibrahim. Do have a lovely day.